definitely what Aunt said about like not trying to like waste the time that we have and like making the most out of it, and this is one of the best ways to do it.
You learn from your own mistakes, and I believe that is true, but also learning from other people's mistakes sort of speeds up that process, and I think that's the biggest thing I took away from last year.
Going into new opportunities opens up new doors for you. Sometimes we look at certain goals, like I want to be a pilot or certain things like that, but then when you grasp other things, it kind of opens a door for you and you go, maybe this is interesting for me, I quite like this.
Kia ora everyone, and welcome back to season 6 of Voice of Aroha. Today we are doing a team talk and we're going to be getting to know our new volunteers. I'm Shreya. I've been here for 2 seasons now, and yeah, would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah. Kia ora, I'm Ansh. I recently graduated Wellington College, and I've just joined Voice of Aroha as a co-host.
And I'm Ata, and I just started year 13 in Newlands College, and I've also started joining for co-hosting and writing.
Hi, I'm Apiksha. I'm a year 13 at Newlands College, and this is my first season at Voice of Aroha.
Awesome. So what made you guys want to join Voice of Aroha, and what do you want to achieve from it?
I think for me personally, I've seen a bunch of their podcast episodes, and I feel like the way I live my life is through connections and through meeting new people. I believe that like the memories we make, people are an essential part of that. And I saw this as an opportunity to meet so many new people from like fields that I wouldn't normally interact with as a student, as a young person. Getting to hear those stories and those insights are actually how I grow as a person. And I think that's what really drew me to Voice of Aroha personally.
Cool, awesome.
Nice.
And personally for myself, I've grown up with interacting with a lot of people, connecting communities, because that's also part of my parents' job. And since then, I've been really interested and intrigued with connecting with people. And other than that, just a few months ago, I was given the opportunity to join TEDx Youth Paparangi. And through that too, I was very keen to join a similar movement, an organization that amplifies voices. And then I seeked into Voice of Aroha, and then I saw their podcasts and their episodes, and then I became really inspired to join them too.
Cool.
I mean, I guess for me, one of my things is I've loved helping people. So, and because Voice of Aroha is a platform that amplifies voices, like, it's a good cause to be a part of. And, you know, I've seen the Instagram reels and the posts and through TEDx and everything. I was so motivated to join. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Ansh, you mentioned that you have recently graduated. Do you have any plans for after school?
Yeah, so I'm in the sort of like unknown area of my life right now. There's no structure. Like leaving the structure of school and having a break between uni. Personally, I'm aiming for international universities that have their intakes like in August and September. So I have this 8-month period where I'm in a free fall, and I feel like in a way I've just had independence thrown at me. Like I've just been hit in the face with independence, trying to find a way to fill up my time, not just in a wasty way, but trying to find things I can do that I'd be proud of, something that I can actually either learn or gain something for myself or make impact. And just through this journey of trying to find ways to do things that I will remember, I will be proud of, or that'll help me, has been a really interesting journey. I think Voice of Aroha is definitely one of those things that allows me to meet more people, and just in this time I've started picking up new like hobbies, new interests. I think travel is going to be a real big part of what I do now. New cultures, I think, is something that I would really like to explore, and just make the most of the independence. Yeah.
Awesome. And you two mentioned that you're in your last year of school. How are we feeling about that?
We're feeling a bit nervous since it's our last year. Trying to make as much memories as possible. That's what we're trying to do.
It hasn't quite like hit me yet that like I'm a year 13. Like this is my final year. Like, it's going to be what Aunt said. I'm just going to be, like, thrown into independence after this.
Yeah, and then I feel like we're trying to like cross some like experiences, new experiences, and I guess that Voice of Aroha is one of them for us.
Yeah, like definitely what Aunt said about like not trying to like waste the time that we have, and like making the most out of it, and this is one of the best ways to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, yeah.
Cool. So we're talking about school and stuff. Do we have any struggles or things that we're really, really excited about? Or Ansh, tell us about how your whole high school life went.
Yeah, so looking back on year 13 now, I think I appreciate it even more. In year 13, personally, I threw myself into so many new things. I had like literally zero free time, but I think there was something about that I really enjoyed. Joining organizations like Wellington International Students Association, organizing charity ball, being a prefect at my school, and even starting my own business. I think there's so many things I learned from the journey. But I think the thing that I'll remember the most are the people I've met. I think back to probably the most memorable experience being starting my own business, Rehab Rise, and just like not even the manufacturing process, which was really interesting, like meeting physiotherapists, healthcare professionals, but the actual community impact that we had. I was given sort of the opportunity to go into a lot of these old age homes and just like educate as well as just talk and gain experiences. And I think just talking to the elderly and this community that's been on earth for much longer than us has so many more lived experiences, and giving them time to talk to you, I've actually taken away so many like messages, profound messages about my own life. Like there's a phrase, you learn from your own mistakes, and I believe that is true, but also learning from other people's mistakes sort of speeds up that process, and I think that's the biggest thing I took away from last year. Yeah.
Wow. And you both, what are we feeling about year 13? Like, is there any goals that you really want to achieve?
I guess for me, my main one would be doing really good, like, academically overall. Like, that's been one of my goals, like, throughout high school. Like, I've always aimed high, and I've been doing good at it so far, so it's definitely a goal. I think another goal is just to make the most of it. Like, it's my final year. I want to try to get involved in as many things as I can, like, make as many connections as I can, and I guess, like, you know, being involved, like, in the school events and stuff like that would be a really good way to do it.
I've actually crossed into so many things, even though it's just the start of the year. And like what a picture just said, I really wanted to do well in academics. But other than that, I wanted to also experience new things. And recently, I've just crossed being a volunteer at the vet clinic. And I think going into new opportunities opens up new doors for you. Sometimes we look at certain goals, like I want to be a pilot or certain things like that. But then when you grasp other things, it kind of opens a door for you and you go, maybe this is interesting for me. I quite like this. And I quite found that when I was volunteering. I originally wanted to be someone in commerce and someone that's just stuck in the, the job desk, like on the desk and stuff. But after volunteering, even though it was just kind of a last minute thing I decided, I kind of went, this might be my thing. So yeah, practically that's what I've been feeling, just more confident in the things that I'm grasping around me.
Wow, cool. So can you tell us more about your vet experience?
On the first day, I was meeting quite a lot of clients and I was quite having like a hands-on experience at the same time. Practiced giving Labrador a vaccine, gave them treats, and next thing you know, I got bitten on the hand. But I'm just gonna say it's worth it because I see myself doing that again and again, but also I feel like I'll go home and feel, oh, that was a good day, and stuff like that. And then another thing was met a cat that no one knew what was happening to her, just dying. And it kind of reminded me of my younger self, how I used to get sick a lot. No one knew what was happening. And I think that also teaches me about life too. Sometimes uncertain things and unfortunate events just happens. and a lot of us have faced grief. But again, through these small things that I encountered, I felt like I just learned more things. And I think that is a part of growing up, as we all have learned. Yeah, that's my experience so far in the vet
Wow.
clinic.
So you mentioned before that you were going to go into commerce, but now you're thinking of changing your mind.
Yes.
How did it feel to be so confident in doing something and then just all of a sudden going into something else?
Honestly, it kind of felt like a free fall, as my two friends here have said earlier. It kind of feels like that. But again, I feel much more happier in that area. So although it is such a sudden, quick movement and change, I feel like maybe this is where I belong. And again, I'm still young. I feel like I still need some more time to actually grasp into different things, and maybe I do need some, more studying in commerce and stuff like that. Maybe I'll enjoy it eventually. But for now, I feel like maybe it is a new change for me. Yeah.
Cool. And you were telling us about your business. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, so this year, especially, I got really into business. Started my own business, and so basically, Rehab Rise, we develop accessible, specialized weights for the elderly and those with arthritis and other joint and wrist conditions. I personally live next to an old age home, and it's since I was 7, I was going over there, watering their plants, just having chats with the residents. And through that process, I think I learned a lot, as well as I saw a lot of things that concerned me. Just really the lack of independence. One particular image that still remains ingrained in my mind is one of the residents that was struggling to grab their own glass of water and drink. And I'm like, that's such a basic, mundane task that you'd assume that all humans need that. And seeing just the immense struggle of this action. And then when I was given the opportunity, I did a bit of research on that and saw that weight training is really what helps with this process. So we created this dumbbell. We had a lot of support from the community and our school community particularly. We were a team of 6 people. And so firstly, I went to our school physiotherapist, who was the ex-Black Caps physio, which was quite cool. And learning from him, these are the exercises you need to do, as well as, one profound thing I took away from him was the leading cause of mortality in the elderly is not, heart disease or cardiovascular disease or anything. It's balance. The elderly have falls, they end up in hospital, and then that just is not great. So we wanted to find a way to restore that balance. And the way you keep things is by doing them over and over and over again. So just by keeping the elderly active, we created an exercise plan. We translated that from English and Māori for our community. And we partnered with one of our mentors who was actually doing a degree in design. So they took our ideas, which we had collected from going into all these old age homes, and turned it into a dumbbell on this CAD modeling, which one of my friends actually owns a 3D printer, so we 3D printed it out, and then took it around our community and got more feedback, developed more prototypes, and then before finally settling on one, which we then took around to shows. We did a lot of presentations, and it was just a great process, really. Yeah.
Wow, okay, awesome. Now you all seem very, very busy. We heard from a picture that she's really striving for her academic goals this year, and Atta's found her new passion in the vet area, and you are just doing so much. So how do you all find time for yourself and kind of deal with burnout?
I think for me it's a bit of a unique perspective, but I really something I've learned is that I enjoy the commute. I enjoy so like my life involves so many things. Like I'm driving from my house to town to my school to some random building, and just in that process I've learned to like decompress on the journey between these places. I feel like driving brings me sort of peace because you're like your entire body is engaged. You have two hands on the wheels, two hands on the pedals. Like you cannot be distracted. And in that, it sort of gives me this like clarity, this mental space to actually think. And I feel like burnout occurs from just constantly being focused on one task for way too long, just obsessing over it. Like I know I've done that with my grades and with other things, but when you get a moment to yourself, you get to daydream, you get to think of other things, and that sort of freshness in those 10-15 minute commutes really helps me stay just happy and fresh and deal with my burnout.
I love that. That's very like unique. I've never heard of someone who thinks of like commuting as like a way to relax. It's actually quite interesting.
Yeah. Atta?
My way may seem typical, but I really enjoy having some time to work out during the day. Sometimes I wake up early in the morning, sometimes before 7, and yeah, it is quite early, but it's kind of something that I've put into habit during the holidays. And I honestly just do a 20-minute workout, and I personally love Pilates, so I just kind of get myself into the mat and then just do a bit of workout, and then next thing you know, it's 7 a.m. and then I feel like during those like workout sessions, I feel just like what Ansh said, just a bit of mental clarity, because I'm just engaging my body to do something, which means my mind just kind of needs to listen to the instructor on the laptop, and all I have to think about is, what's for lunch? Or something as simple as that. What should I drink this morning? Tea, coffee, and something like that. And this also reminds me of the Burnout book that my dad bought me a few years ago. And the thing about burnout is it doesn't just impact you, academically or just work. It can be emotional burnout too. Sometimes being a caretaker, and this might also relate to Ansh's business, but being with old people and stuff, and being a caretaker itself could be quite of an emotional burnout. And then I found that quite in a lot of people around me too. Sometimes they take care of their parents, their sick dogs, or even their siblings, and then next thing you know, they have a burnout. And I think one of the tips that I've taken from that book is that we have to like kind of dedicate a time in the day, even though it's only 5 minutes, 15, 20, doesn't have to be an hour. Just kind of have that space where you can be just alone with yourself and just breathe. Honestly, just breathe. So cliche, because I struggle with mental health, and those things are just easier said than done. But again, these little steps will definitely get you through your day and your life. Yeah.
I guess for me, I was like a ginormous burnout victim last year. Like there was a period of time where I physically was like unable to motivate myself to do my schoolwork. And I guess how I like overcame that was I used to do Sunday resets. So, I would wake up, I would brush my teeth, I would have some breakfast. I would do the whole thing. Like I'd do a face mask, I'd put a hair mask on, and then I'd clean my room, because I'm someone who like lives in my room. Like I love my room. And I believe in that thing where they say a clean room equals a clean mind. So definitely clearing up my space, like the place where I spend like the most time, like definitely helped me a little more. And like just dedicating, like even if it was a portion of the Sunday, with like whether it was the whole Sunday or not, like even if it was just Sunday morning, like that whole like portion of time to myself, like to focus on myself, to like, energize myself again, like that definitely helped, because it would mean like I could put on music and then I could clean my room and I'd be distracted, then it would help motivate me a little bit more, and it would help me like push through it slowly. Yeah.
I might
Cool.
start doing what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Okay, now Shreya, it's your turn. How do you overcome the burnout?
Well, I know a lot of students suffer from this. A lot of just people in general going through their academics, their school life with sports and arts and so many extracurriculars and things that they're committed to. I also found that last year I may or may not have overcommitted myself and found that I had a lot of time for everyone else and the things around me, but not a lot of time for myself. So I think personally for me, just being able to find that time for myself, even if it was a couple minutes a day, just to think about what's going on in my life, think about the day ahead of me, the day that I've just had, and to really be able to process everything really helped me to build a way to go through with my life without being super overwhelmed all the time. Because I found that doing a full 6-hour day of school and then going to my extracurricular activities, coming home, doing homework or studying, it was just getting like a lot. It felt super overwhelming. So I found that if I just take some time for myself, even if it's not a lot of time, like Asa said, even if it's not a lot of time, just being able to take time for myself and being able to do that and put myself first in some situations really helped me. But yeah.
Yeah, and so as someone who's gone through year 13, for me personally, this year was like a huge stakes year. Looking at uni, especially the overseas ones, I knew every grade, every activity I did mattered so deeply, and I think that really led to my burnout. It led to a paralyzing fear. Basically, you have to juggle everything, and everything has to be perfect when you're competing at that level. And I just wanted to ask you guys, how are you gonna be able to deal with that sort of fear that this determines your future? How are you gonna be able to get over that? How do you think you're gonna deal?
Well, now you're slightly freaking me out.
No, don't worry about it. I got through it. I got through it. You'll get through it. You just need some mental preparation. As long as you know what you're going through, and as long as you have a support group with you, you'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a really good support crew. I'm blessed. My family's there for me. I have awesome friends. And I think the one thing that gets me through it is knowing that I'm not going through it alone. There are 200 other year 13s in our year group going through the same thing. Everyone's scared. Everyone's already talking about it, and school has just started. So it's I guess the one thing that kind of helps me is knowing that I'm not in it alone.
Yeah. For me, I think this fear is really in me as well. I completely understand it, and it's that what I'm doing right now is determining my life for the next 50 years. And I think that's really stuck with me ever since I realized that. And ever since that, I've been trying to absolutely work my hardest and do everything right. But that is also not the way I want to be living my life. And so personally, having to realize that if I'm being so caught up with all of the minuscule things in life, that's just not the way that I want to be living. And if I'm living like that now, I'm going to be living like that in 30 years. Yeah. So realizing that right now, whatever I'm doing is what I'm doing. What's happening now is happening now. What's happening in 30 years will happen in 30 years. And I can do things to change that, and I can try my hardest, but to not be too hard on myself is what I've learned. Yeah.
That's really good, Shreya. Well, for me personally, you guys heard that my passion changed, right?
Yeah.
On the sudden, tick of a second, my passion just changed. I think that's something that has always been with me, which is I change things a lot. I'm quite a season, basically. I kind of have these 4 seasons within a year. I constantly change things, and that's not the best habit. But what I should do for this year definitely is to kind of put that in a concrete stone, but also surely, and to also make sure, will I be happy with this? Will I be able to like live with this job? Will I be able to get enough money to live for myself, maybe for my partner, or if I have children, or if I have pets and such? So there's a lot of factors to think about for myself, and I am sure that a lot of people out there, same age as me and all of us here, are also thinking about the same thing, because it's like it determines for the next decades of your life. It's quite a stressful thing to think. And I'm also like gonna talk about this in like for people with mental health problems. It's not the easiest thing for them to think. Sometimes to even brush their teeth or to shower, it's difficult. Let alone think about something so big like this. And I've struggled with that too. So I'm not gonna know their perspectives because we're all different. But all I can say is, what we can do is to take things slowly, step by step. And like what Shreya said, what happens now, and what happens later. We can't force things to happen now. It's something that we can't force naturally, especially if it's the force of nature. You can't change that. So to everyone out there that's struggling mentally or not, it's a hard thing to decide. It's such a big thing in your life. Just take it step by step, in my opinion, no matter how small, no matter how big it is.
Yeah. Just on that, I think another thing that I have realized is success means different things to different people.
Yeah, 100%.
So for me personally, I've redefined success as happiness. So if I'm happy, I think I'm succeeding. I might not be the best at something, but I still see it as a success in my eyes. So I was actually curious, what do you guys think of success? How do you define success?
I mean, I'm pretty much the same as you. Like, I used to be so, like, fixated that success was, like, being the best of the best or being at the top. But, like,
Same.
honestly, like, it's not worth putting yourself through that all the time. Like, obviously, some people like to define success that way, and that is completely okay. But for me, success is just, like, being rich in life in general. Like, having a good support system, having access to, like, clean water and all that stuff. Like, all that stuff is, like, I'm rich in life and it makes me happy. And, like, knowing that I have that stuff, success enough to me. And, like, knowing if I can work for things, like, and I can, like, I've lost the word. I've lost the word.
That's okay. I think what you were saying made so much sense, and, like, I related to it
You
a lot.
get what I mean.
Yes, I do. Ata?
For me, I think success is when you're at peace. So it relates back to happiness. And for me, peace is giving something back to people. Something that satisfies me, like I've helped enough people, I've helped enough souls today maybe, and connecting with people, but also being able to rest in my bed and say I've done enough. But also that enough doesn't mean I'm the best of the best. I'm like having so much money in my bank right now. But maybe that's what changed my passion so quick. Maybe it's because I loved helping people, and helping animals is one of them. So maybe this is peace for me. But maybe peace for you is being at a desk, just going through your mundane stuff, not having to interact with a lot of people, because again, success is different for all of us. But for me, peace is when I can do what I love, I can satisfy my needs, and also at the same time, I can have some time for my family and friends, because my family and friends are just as important to me as myself to myself. Yeah.
And I'd say success for me is moving on to the next thing, because I am someone who finds it difficult to celebrate my victories. But I feel like I gain that realization or that feeling of celebration after I've moved on to something else. Seeing that, like, I've actually overcome or accomplished my goals in a way that I've been, like, I have this time to move on to something else. And that other thing doesn't have to be, like, this high goal. It could be, like, now I get to travel, or now I get to hang out with my friends. Like, I've overcome this task. I've achieved my goals. Like, I'm at a point where, like, I've struggled through this and I never thought I'd overcome it, but now I'm doing something else that shows that I've been able to do it, and that's what success means to me, just moving forward in life.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did anyone have any last questions or anything else they'd like to say or like to share?
No, it's been awesome talking to you guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you all for watching. We will catch you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.